But power of attorney is while someone is alive. And anything can happen at any time. I don't care if you are, you know, 30 years old and have three kids and you don't have power of attorney paperwork. You should worry about that. You
Mhm.
should have power of attorney paperwork. If you're 80 years old and you haven't talked about this yet and you don't have a power of attorney, you should really, I'm going to use the word, worry about this. This needs to be taken care of. It
Mhm.
creates so much chaos, so many hiccups to get over, hurdles to get over, makes protocols and systems work so much slower if you don't have a power of attorney in place.
Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are in segment number 4 of 6. And we are talking about, are you prepared to care for a loved one? Or are you just in denial about what's happening? And we are here with Daphne Davis, the founder and CEO of Pinnacle Senior Placements, and who is a referral agent and works with families in the state of Washington and is connected to a network that works with the entire USA. And Daphne, welcome back to the program.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
I always loved
Education, it's the best. Education's the
it
best.
is. I was at a dinner last week and I just met with a gentleman, sat next to a gentleman who's caring for some loved ones, his parents over in Whidbey Island. And he informed me that, he's doing all this stuff. And lo and behold, through a conversation, he said, yeah. And I asked him if his power of attorney had been activated. And he looked at me with this blank stare, like, what? What do you mean? And I said, well, they have a power of attorney. And I said, yeah, but it needs to be activated by a doctor. And, and in that case, I wasn't sure, but I said, you might want to check that out. And so, um, we've had the honor on Answers for Elders to talk about legal paperwork with attorneys. From your perspective, though, and working with families, are they in denial with legal paperwork?
Yeah, I am not an attorney and I'm not giving any attorney
No,
advice here today, but
no.
I will give you real life perspectives to consider. And
Hmm.
that is do not avoid getting the paperwork done. And what is the paperwork? Um, I will go through, but the biggest one is power of attorney. And power of attorney paperwork allows you to um, speak on behalf of the person that you're the power of attorney for while they're still alive.
Hmm.
And there's different paperwork for after they've passed away.
Hmm.
But power of attorney is while someone is alive. And anything can happen at any time. I don't care if you are, you know, 30 years old and have three kids and you don't have power of attorney paperwork. You should worry about that. You
Hmm.
should have power of attorney paperwork. If you're 80 years old and you haven't talked about this yet and you don't have a power of attorney, you should really, I'm going to use the word, worry about this. This needs to be taken care of. It
Hmm.
creates so much chaos, so many hiccups to get over, hurdles to get over, makes protocols and systems work so much slower if you don't have a power of attorney in place. I hope you heard me really loud and clear. It's really important. It's a very important document.
Well, and there's two separate types of power of attorney. And I think that's one of the things that people get confused about. There is the healthcare power of attorney, and that is someone that will advocate for you if you cannot advocate for yourself. Let's say you're having a massive heart attack and you're unconscious. You need someone that will be your advocate, that will understand your values.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and that's something I had to really learn because when I was power of attorney for my mom, my sense of values were very different than what hers were. And I learned that over time that I needed to take a step back and take my own opinion out of it what would she want? And that was something that was really important for me to understand. But it's also that end of life decision of, you know, what do you do when hospice is initiated and mom is on a ventilator? Do you dial back the oxygen? Do you give them morphine? Do you do things, all
You
of
have a feeding tube, do
Mhm.
you do CPR? And
All those things.
yep.
And those are all things that you have to have those conversations. And I think having that document drafted up up front is so valuable in multiple ways. And then of course here in the state of Washington, we have that neon green form that you put on your refrigerator, which again is called a POLST form here in Washington, which is Physician's Order of Life Sustaining Treatment. Is that right?
That's it. You got it.
And what that is basically, a do not resuscitate order or
Or a resuscitate.
resuscitate. Yeah.
Yeah, that has four sections on it. And the state of Washington, I think, is very wise in having this POLST form, POLST.
Mm-hmm.
And having that form, it's easy, it's bright, it's here. EMTs know what to do with it in the state of Washington. Again, we say that a lot because I know it's nationwide, but our state, if there is not a directive of how to do end of life care or emergent care, our health EMTs, first responders, are
Mm-hmm.
required to do everything possible to keep you alive.
Right.
And if you're not a healthcare professional, you may not know what that means, but that's certainly a conversation you should have with your doctor
Right.
and go through it. And by the way, if you're in the Washington state, you know that the post form is not worth anything until it has a doctor's signature that says, yes, I have explained this all to my patient.
Mm-hmm.
And that signature, it's not your signature.
Mm-hmm.
It's the doctors that we look for. Your signature is important, but the doctor's is really important.
And that's primarily for those that are chronically ill or
Yeah.
have congestive heart failure or something like that. That is not for your typical vibrant senior, but it's something
No,
obviously that is a form of paperwork on the healthcare side that
it is.
needs to
It
be
absolutely
addressed.
is.
So
Mhm.
the other type is a financial or attorney in fact paperwork. Explain what that is.
So the financial person is the one that's going to say, yes, I can facilitate having bills paid. Yes, I have access to funding that's available versus not having anyone be able to get into your account that has $1 million sitting in it, but we can't access it because nobody is the financial
Mhm.
power of attorney.
Right.
And so then things get delayed and we have to wait. And it is rightfully so. It's a laborious, bureaucratic system to get that all straightened out. And it should be.
Right. Right.
With as many hackers and things that are going on in our internet and whatnot, we should be prudent and careful. So I'm not
Right.
begrudging that, but have it in place so
Mm-hmm.
that things can move forward that usually are the unexpected. And that's, I think, primarily the message I wanted you to take here from this segment is things happen.
Yeah, they do.
We don't plan for the things to happen. We don't have a crystal ball. I know my crystal ball is non-existent. Some think it's a little
Mhm.
cloudy in their own crystal ball, but it's non-existent.
Yeah.
You need to be prepared. I know I'm speaking very, very boldly and passionately right now, but it causes excess stress
It does.
without that paperwork.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we put off. I know my grandfather, he said, I don't have anything to need a power of attorney. I have nothing. It's me. I'm going out in a pine box. Yes, you do. You have a bank account. Yes, you have a will. Yes. I mean, a will in terms of what you
You have
want.
final wishes. You
You
have
do.
you have
And
all of these things. Who's going to be the it when you die? Who's going to pack up your belongings? Who are
yeah.
going to, who are you might have possessions that you want to give to people. And
And
obviously with
those are
it.
the next documents after you've
Mhm.
passed away.
Mhm.
Those are the
Yeah.
next documents.
Yeah.
But while you're alive and while decisions have to be made, or if you've had a massive stroke, heaven forbid, that
Yeah.
affects everything.
Yeah.
And when your ability to speak is gone and we have to figure out another way of communicating, it's possible,
Yep.
but it's just so much easier if you say, my son or daughter is the power of attorney and I trust them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
much easier.
Well, and I think the other thing, it also it's harmony, it keeps harmony in families. How many times do I talk to a family and there's no power of attorney in place and everybody's on a different page? And
Yeah.
so it empowers that person that you want to be your advocate, to make sure that they are acting on your behalf. And I think that's the key with all of this, is the fact that, having that ability to say, this is what mom would want, this is what dad would want, this is what my husband would want, are so vitally important. And
It
I
is.
think that's the thing that, you're basically putting those emotions into place while you are still alive, to be
Yep.
able to do things on
Yep.
their behalf.
As adult children who may be helping people, I want to tell a quick story, and this is a gentleman's body is failing him. They're an elderly couple. His body is failing him dramatically, and the
Hmm.
wife, the mom's mind is failing dramatically.
Hmm.
And there's 5 siblings that are all on different pages,
Hmm.
variable pages, and they're struggling with how do we move forward because there isn't documentation or desires or
Yeah.
conversation that was had with the mom and dad to the children. And so they're all kind of looking at each other, wondering what to go. And it came down to, Daphne, we can't move forward until my dad calls you. Not one of us kids can call you and implement your services. My dad has to do it just because of the dynamics in the
Hmm.
family.
Yeah. And the thing
Just
is that when you're saying that, it's like there's so many things that I know we're going to talk about in the next segment of why, if you don't have it, what can happen is really, really crazy. And so in the meantime, for those of you listening to us on podcasts, you can reach Daphne through pinnacleseniorplacements.com, and your 800 number is
855-734-1500.
and we'll be right back right after this. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.